What's up, guys? It's Rod Nourishment, and today we're going to be talking about Frankenstein, both Mary Shelley's and the new film adaptation by Del Toro. We're going to dive into the differences, both major and minor, and particularly the overarching ones of religion and identity. Both tell stories that show their two creators' perspectives and how art remains over centuries, as well as how they teach us to be human, because that's all we will ever be. Both stories start in a ship heading over the Arctic. And this is where we will see the first difference, which is the ship's captain. In the movie, it's some old random. But in the book, the captain plays, I guess, more of an important role because he's more present in the story, and he is a kind of mirror to Victor. Walter and Victor are both young men chasing for some grand ambition bigger than themselves. Victor wants to reanimate the dead and figure out the mystery of consciousness and mortality, whereas Walton wants to find a new route to the new world. And that's why I think it's better for Walton to be a young man, because he succeeds where Victor fails. Where Victor keeps chasing that goal, ultimately leading to his downfall, Walton, at the end of the book, would turn his ship around and return home safely with all his men, sparing all their lives from impending doom. But as Victor recounts his story, another major difference is clear. His childhood is wildly different. In the movie, Victor's childhood is completely shit. The only loving person around him is his mom, and I guess his little brother. His mom kind of replaces Elizabeth as his loved possession, but she still dies the same. And so it's with that, as well as with his dad's insistence on his learning of biology and anatomy, that he gains this interest towards the sciences. This was the biggest surprise for me watching the movie. Seeing his dad being a complete asshole to Victor and how sad his childhood is. It's just really different from the book, where his childhood's ideal. Very happy and full of fun times with his family, his dad, his siblings, and Elizabeth. Although she was also his sister in the uncensored text, but it's whatever. This is where I see a big theme of ambition versus ignorance in the novel. Mary Shelley's Victor goes down more of a natural path towards his love of science. It's through his curiosity and through books that he reads that he ventures into that path. Victor always has this incredible life to just fall back on anytime he wants. At any point in the novel, except the end, Victor could have given up everything completely. Given up on the monster, given up on university, given up on trying to save people, and just go back to his happy life in Switzerland. Still, he chooses to chase for something greater, which ultimately leads to his downfall. And in comparison, movie Victor chases because that's all he has. He has no happy life to fall back on. The sciences are a way for him to escape this life of suffering and heavy expectations. Book Victor's natural identity was just a humble family man. In movie Victor, I see it as completely opposite. And once again, science is more of his escape rather than a hobby or a passion. This leads us to the creation of the monster, which we'll talk about more in depth later. But Book Victor kind of just doesn't give a fuck, and that's how he abandoned his monster. Victor, did you ever ask yourself, of all the parts that make that man, which one holds the soul? Elizabeth, whose former spot was a family friend almost of Victor and his fiancée, is now his brother's fiancée. And she is one of the few people in the movie that has some sort of empathy towards the monster. Actually, maybe the only person. She tries to reason with Victor, saying the monster holds some kind of soul, some kind of consciousness.
In those eyes I saw pain, and what is pain if not evidence of intelligence?
What about my pain?
Your
But Victor refutes her, thinking of the creature more as a philosophical zombie. It's also important to note that the movie's monster is pretty cute and kind of elicits empathy from the viewer and people around. But in the novel, he's supposed to be completely horrendous, where anyone would feel absolutely disgusted looking at the disgusting chud. Victor has a little crush on Elizabeth, and so maybe it's because of his jealousy that she cares more about the creature than him, or just because he doesn't fuck with the monster anymore that he decides to abandon it. But instead of a more ignorant abandonment, he goes crazy and tries to kill his monster completely. In the book, Victor didn't even meet the monster initially, but the movie has him take a more active role in the monster's beginning life, resembling something of a father figure. I feel that in the book, although Victor did horrible things, he still remains at his heart truly a good person, and it is the monster that commits these horrendous acts. In the movie, the roles are completely flipped. Clerval, Elizabeth, and William, who were supposed to get killed by the monster, instead died by Victor's hands in the movie. Victor plays God in both stories, but in the book, he seems more of a non-attached, deistic God. But in the movie, he purposely meddles with people's lives, controlling them and punishing them. And so we go into religion and Christianity, the biggest string connecting the two works. The monster represents Adam in the book, whereas in the movie, he represents Jesus. Let's look into how Victor created the monster in both stories. Mary Shelley's monster was created with parts of unknown age, even including animal parts, a more general first creation of Adam. But Del Toro's monster was made with freshly dead bodies, Appalachian grabbed from the battlefields of the Crimean War, and fresh hangings. That's why the book is more creation and the movie more resurrection. But anyways, the movie's monster was created in a sort of Y pose, akin to a crucifixion if the arms were raised more. This is actually an important detail because it dates back to the 13th century, a reimagining of the crucifixion depicting Jesus crucified in a Y rather than a T, often showing a defeated, suffering, and cursed image of Christ rather than a triumphant one. And when the book's monster, or our Adam, first fell into sin, killing William, his creator denounced him, and the monster shot back. "Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." That is from Genesis 3:17 to 3:19, when God punished Adam for eating the apple. And it sounds really similar to when the monster argued back against Victor. This shows the fall of Adam, or the monster, but also the rise to match his creator, or Victor's, power level.
Only monsters play God, Baron.
And Victor in the movie is the monster in place of the actual monster. It's pretty obvious to tell because, just like his dad, the Victor in the movies is a complete asshole, controlling everybody with fear. The weird Medusa motifs around his lab, that weird crimson lady that he kept seeing in his dreams, as well as the Y crucifixion, kind of show the falseness of his godhood. And yet, after all the battles and all the hatred and the chasing down, which is similar in both the book and the movie, the creature calls Victor his father and forgives him.
Victor, I forgive you.
He says that
Perhaps now we can both be human.
suggesting even more God and Jesus parallels. Ultimately, despite the loop of pain caused by each other, the creator and the created forgive, and no hard feelings remain. Getting out of that loop of hate and forgiving, that's what's important. For despite the power we may feel, like some creator, or the debt of someone created, we are all human after all. The book displayed the wrath of the creator, this grand punishment for seeking to be God instead of human, for chasing to be something much bigger than ourselves. But the movie shows and completes the story of forgiveness between father and son, from human to human, and a final crime and punishment-esque redemption between the two. Alright, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts and all that other stuff. And have a beautiful day. Thank you.